to 90. Celtics not using the timeout. Tatum across midcourt with 10. Tatum behind the Horford screen. Crossover, foul line with 4. Left block, step back, stolen by Bridges.
Another great defensive play for the Knicks. They've got it. They've won it.
Yeah.
What a scene outside Madison Square Garden last night. Janae, it was a little party on Barab.
That's not a party. That's a rave.
I mean, for good reason.
It's a riot.
This was a comeback
Yep.
for the ages. Fans taken to the streets, understandably so. The Boston Celtics, they led by as many as 20 in last night's game, too. So you got your lab coats.
Yes.
You got your gloves on. We need to examine the anatomy of a comeback here because it takes the first ingredient. It is a star role player punching above their weight. Enter Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
That is exactly what he did here in the fourth quarter, Janae. He had 0 points, 0 of 8 coming into the frame.
I love this because the biggest criticism of Coach Thibodeau, was that, all right, we don't rest our guys. He was resting his stars in Brunson, and what did he do? You know, being cold going into this moment, that shows you the confidence of this guy, Mikal Bridges. And once he sees one going, he just explodes.
Yep. I mean, the professionalism from him of staying locked in mentally, that's the hardest part as a pro. And when you don't have it going for 3 quarters, but in that fourth quarter saying, all I need is see one go in and continue that, that streak, that's all he needed.
And I would like to say it's fair to say that he has a side of a court, a spot.
He had 14 points in the quarter. Here's Bridges on that fourth.
Everything to my teammates, man. They helped me up, throughout the whole, me missing every shot, until that point. And it's really, truly them, them just holding me together and keep me mentally right and just telling me to keep going. And I think Coach also just trusted me, coming out the forefront to play for me and just putting that confidence in me. But, man, it's really my teammates and my coaches, man. They really, they really helped me up.
All right, so that's the first part of the anatomy of a comeback. It takes a star role player stepping up. It also takes a team that started off hot going cold. Kendrick Perkins, I mean ice cold. Kendrick Perkins, I mean the polar plunge level of cold. That's what the Boston Celtics did from three-point range as we head back to TD Garden to see exactly the way that it looked here. The Celtics, they were 15 of 60, 25% shooting, Perk, on three-pointers in game one.
And they just kept shooting. I mean, look, but a great job by the Knicks. They're taking away the driving gaps. They're loading up the paint. That's what the Tom Thibodeau team is going to do right here. I mean, this is Peyton Pritchard's shot. But look, OG Anunoby just making the second effort right there, going to contest that shot was huge. But at what point do you attack the basket? But you can't get more wide open than this.
No
right?
defender in sight here. And so far in the series, Perk, Boston has only shot 25% on wide open threes. They were expected to make 41% of those, according to Genius IQ. Horrendous, right? That's just the word for this. Shooting-wise in the fourth quarter, they made just 5 of 24 shots and 2 of 11 three-pointers. 2 of their 3 worst shooting fourth quarters have now come in these last 2 games against the Knicks, which leads us to part 3 of our science project, friends. How to close a game and seal a comeback. It takes a Brunson burner. And that is what we saw, Shanae.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was not his biggest performing night, but that shot said, hello, I won the award for a reason. Yes, you can droop your head.
Stepped up when it counted. That's when they needed him. Mr. Clutch Player of the Year for a reason.
And then right here, check how much time is left in the shot clock when Jaylen Brown takes that shot.
Yeah, and now you're setting up Brunson with a shorter court, having the advantage again. This is a guy that he knows his shot was not necessarily falling. He found ways to get contact, be physical. That's why Perk calls him Big Body
Use the right hand, too.
But right here, Jason Tatum, a perfectly executed ATO.
It was elegant. The force switch, and then, of course, getting the highest percentage of shots.
So Boston up 1, but who do you call? Jalen Brunson. Watch right here. Drew Holiday. He is one of the best defenders in the league. You were talking about discipline here.
Yeah, he normally gets those steals in the past. Not against Jalen Brunson, you're not.
And this is the second made free throw to put the New York Knicks up 1. Here's the thing. The Boston Celtics, they have a timeout. Domazula, why didn't you take it?
I had one left, got a good look on the exact same play 20 seconds earlier. Tried to execute the exact same thing.
So they didn't take it. And here's the last chance here for the Boston Celtics.
Yep.
Jason Tatum, he's the guy you want to have it. Shanae, you were talking about how difficult this is to force him to that side.
Yeah, it is extremely difficult, but guess what? That's what the Knicks do. They win the game not just by points, but also defensively, back-to-back, heart and hustle.
Heart,
elegant.
hustle, and Mikal Bridges with the steal. It's the New York Knicks that take a series lead 2 games to 1.
All right, you guys, when you think about the Boston Celtics losing the lead twice, making history, 20 points up does not matter. It was wild. The Celtics led by 16 with 8.5 minutes left, and that's when things truly fell apart for the defending champs. I mean, let's break down these final 2 plays because I love the first one, which is why they went to it again. This is why I love it. Out of timeout, I said it was elegant. You force a switch. It's 30 feet away from the basket. Now you have the post player on their heels, Mitchell Robinson. At this point, it was almost barbecue chicken because he was stuttering, going backwards. And I love this. In 2 games, they were settling for threes. They didn't find threes. They knocked it down. Jason Tatum with the dunk.
Unfortunately, for the last play, the opposite of elegant. They didn't get the same matchup or the same mismatch. They started with OG. You know, OG had a better pickup point the second possession in that fourth quarter. As you see right here, the percentages of Jason Tatum, his shooting woes, and the Celtics. But in the second clip here, as you can see, OG Onyewu picks up a 3-point line. Knowing he's not Steph Curry or Damian Lillard, he's not going to shoot from back here. So now that shrinks the floor for your big man to get out and play, you know, a little bit more better defense. Mr. Robinson does a great job switching. You get the switch.
Impressive.
Al Horford's got to get out of there. You got to give him space. And Jason Tatum losing that ball changed the whole trajectory of that play because he couldn't get by Mitch Robinson. Now he's got 3 guys contesting the shot. Tries to make a last play pass, bad decision. This was a terrible, terrible last possession of the game for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's KYP. We see that with scouting reports. Know your personnel, but also for your teams to be able to make adjustments on the fly.
And you know what? I thought when they were up by 16 with 8.5 left, I thought I could go line dancing. I thought it was a wrap. I thought maybe, you could go to bed early. Exactly, you could watch a TV show. No. New York outscored Boston 23-6 the rest of the game. The Celtics, they missed 13 of their final 14 shots. They clanked their final 7 3-point attempts. Now, moments ago, Jason Tatum, he spoke about the end of the game.
I take full ownership on the way that I've played in this series. And, you know, can't sugarcoat anything. I need to be better. And, you know, I expect to be a lot better.
All right, so he's taking responsibility, Perk, for the way that the end of the game went here. What do you think is the biggest problem right now facing the Boston Celtics, and can they overcome it?
Well, the biggest problem is them not getting to the free throw line. And I'm talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but particularly Jason Tatum, right? When you're great and you're a guy that's striving for greatness, all the greats that I played with, when their shots are not falling, they get to the free throw line. You find a way to put pressure on the opponent and the referees to get to the line. And I think right now, it's all about the mental toughness with Jason Tatum. I believe he's in his own head, right? You see the last second, the shot that he had to tie the game or to take the lead or whatever, and we watch him. He wasn't confident, right? He didn't have the swag like a Tyrese Halliburton. And so if I'm Tatum, if my 3-point shot is not falling, if my mid-range is not falling, I got to put my head down and attack the basket. That's my biggest takeaway.
Perk, to me, it's not the free throws. It's the idea that over a stretch, the crucial stretch of this game, it was feast or famine.
Right.
They went 8 minutes, the final 8 minutes of the game, with only 1 field goal. When you're a championship team, you have to find different ways to win. Now, that includes free throws. That includes, you know, a lot of people say analytics. I tweeted it yesterday. We might be witnessing the end of extreme analytics where you keep shooting threes when you actually have guys that are excellent in the mid-range. If you think about the matchups, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, you have Hart in front of you. You have Brunson in front of you. I'm not mad if you don't get to the rim. Just shoot over those guys. We watched many games where so many players, even Karl Anthony Towns, did you guys see the mismatches? He turned around and just shot over guys.
Yeah.
I think that, to me, was the issue. They couldn't find a way to put the ball in the basket multiple times down the stretch.
I'm with Perk here, too. Jason, I think, had 2 free throws for the game. But end of the day, there's not just Jason and Jaylen that has to score, but they can create a basket. These guys are too good and too deep of a team to not have a field goal within 7 or 8 minutes. You can't go that long of a stretch. Find your way to get to the free throw line. But down the stretch, I also saw a lot of hero ball.
Right.
Not just on offense, but defense. You know, Drew Holiday, very disciplined defender. You don't usually gamble for that type of steal. But on offense, I saw too many fadeaway jumpers from the turnaround from Jason Tatum, from Jaylen Brown. Early in the shot clock, trying to bully ball Jalen Brunson. Just bad shot after bad shot, and then get good possessions at the end of the game.
Are you trying to say that, like, they try to make too many sexy plays?
Just too much hero ball. Usually they trust each other. I'm okay with missed threes, but find each other, drop kick, and get open shots. The last 2 minutes, they just shot too many fadeaway jumpers over bodies.
Well, you got to credit the New York Knicks, too. And by the way, that searching out big body Brunson at the end in these 4 quarters, that hasn't been working.
Yeah.
Like, he's been defending his behind off. So they might want to go to something else. I would love to see what a 2-man game look like with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Can we see that one time? I wonder if you could use Jason Tatum as a screener and roll into the basket. Like, can we see some of that action at times? I'm just asking. Here's another thing. Shanae, Danny, especially you, Shanae. Me and Danny were role players, okay? But Shanae, as the go-to guy, right, go-to girl on the squad, and at any time when you felt like breaking the play, the offensive set, you did it.
Yes.
Was the coach going to take you out?
No.
No. So my thing is that I understand the system is shoot a whole bunch of threes, but JT, JB, Joe Mazzulla is not going to bitch you if you decide to do something else, or you see something else, or you want to attack the lane.
I think what makes this a little bit, if you want to look glass half full, but it's also a little bit concerning here for the Boston Celtics. They've led all but 12 minutes of these last 2 games. So that is one way where you're saying, okay, they were an incredible road team during the regular season, 33-8 on the road, the best record in the NBA this year. You can find some sort of solace in that, but they've been leading the whole way and just haven't executed down the stretch.
They gave the wrong, and I said this yesterday, not team, but city life.
Yeah.
Like, this is the biggest game to hit New York, apart from, like, the WNBA Finals, okay?
Yeah.
In a very, very long time.
And now the New York Knicks, they're feeling themselves. They're feeling pretty good. Maybe no one more so than Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson at the podium.
It's all about just focusing.
I like it. I like it. Hey, boy, you did your thing now, boy. You did your thing now. Hey, that's what I'm talking. Hey, I didn't know you right there. That means you was acting your behind off. I didn't know who that was right there.
I'm dabbling a little bit. You know, this is a big thing, you know, because everybody knows, you know, I got a recurring role on the soap opera General Hospital on ABC for many years, which I'm very, very proud of. Frank Valentini, Maurice Bernard, you know, Laura Wright, Steve Burton, props to all of y'all, love y'all to death. But Law and Order, prime time, I mean, I am a Law and Order fanatic, particularly seasons 3 through 21. I've never missed an episode because Sam Waterston is one of my all-time favorite actors.
No doubt.
I thought he was phenomenal, and I love it. And when they called me to appear on Law and Order, I mean, I jumped at it, y'all. So it airs tonight. NBC. I'm very proud of it. I mean, I try. Listen, I'm not an actor. I tried. I did my best. And I hope when everybody sees it tonight that, you know, they like it. Stephen A. on Law and Order, you know. I mean, you know. All I'm going to say is this. Most great actors have appeared on Law and Order. So, I mean, that's good. That's great, you know. I'm just saying. I mean, who knows? Who knows? You know, I ain't giving up my day job. I'm not giving up my day job. Right. I mean, I have other things on my mind too. So I don't know which direction I'm gonna go in. But you know, I mean, I don't mind touching it. I'm touching on Hollywood a little bit. I don't mind.
Yeah. I love it. I go back to Jerry Orbach. Dick Wolf, let's go. I love it. Stephen A., congrats.
Yeah, and just by the way, just a couple of days ago, I had the pleasure, I ain't going to tell y'all where because ain't none nobody's business, but you know, I had the pleasure of running across the likes of Queen Latifah, Equalizer. She's doing a great job. And the great, the phenomenal, the incomparable Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, so I'm just saying, it's like to see people that I admire and revere, and then to run across them the very week that I'm gonna be on Law and Order. I mean, that's called karma, baby. That's called karma right there.
It's iconic.
Who knows? Who knows?
It's like that gavel. Boom. All right, we'll be watching tonight. Once a minus 900 favorite to win the series, the Boston Celtics now sit at just minus 110 to win the series, which are the same odds that the Knicks currently have. See, Game 3 is Saturday at the Garden on ABC. But our friends over at TNT actually think that this Game 3 is a must-win for the Knicks, not the Celtics. Take a listen.
They're up 2 now for the Knicks. Don't get comfortable. It's a must-win for Boston, but it's also a must-win for Knicks. If you want to put serious pressure on the champs, Game 3 is a must for the Knicks.
30-17 in the fourth quarter. So
let me take that for a second. He is 100% correct. It's going to sound stupid. Game 3 is a must-win for the Knicks. Because if they get back, because Game 4, because Boston's got a better team. They've been up 20, but I'm telling you, been in that situation twice. You got to win that third game.
All right, Stephen A. Is Game 3 a must-win for the Knicks, or is Game 3 a must-win for the Celtics?
I'm going to say the Knicks. I'm going to say also it's breaking news that Charles Barkley and Shaq agree on something. It's very, very nice to see. I don't know why the hell Shaq sounding all hoarse and everything. I mean, we got to talk about that. I'm going to give him a call in a little while. I don't know why his voice was sounding like that, trying to be like Barry White or something. But the bottom line is that they do make a very, very valid point. Boston has overcome an 0-3 deficit before. You know, they could do it again. The New York Knicks to be in this position, oh no, you can't go on the road, beat Boston in Boston twice, and then think that Game 3 is just blasé, passé, and we can afford to lose that. Can't do that. Got to win.
I just think they got to get one. I mean, I think they just got to get 1, 3 or 4. To be honest, it's about being even keel. We hear that term so much, Peter, Stephen A. We hear that all the time, and it's not getting too high, not getting too low. And it would be easy for the Knicks right now to be on an all-time high. The city is lit up. You just won 2 games on the road against the defending champs after being down 20. But you heard Karl Anthony Towns' message in the locker room. He's been in that position before last year against the Nuggets, and they were up 2-0, and they lost 2 straight at home. So keeping that locker room level-headed, but I would say at worst, you want to split. And if you have to go back to Boston for a Game 5, you need it to be 3-1.
Well, my concern is that if they lose Game 3, Boston will have momentum, and that's not good.
No doubt. I've got the Law & Order theme song in my head. It's probably the best. I still love it. Stephen A., we'll be watching tonight. We love it. What is the combo of George Pickens and Dak Prescott mean for the Cowboys? Mina Khan's going to join us with a take. It has to be her.
I sort of feel that way as well. Big Perk, I will start with you because I was the one who said before the series, you did too, but I was the one who was screaming and yelling before the series. People aren't giving the Knicks enough credit. They're not giving them any chance to win. I'm now the one yelling at all the Knicks fans, wait, slow down. The idea that this thing is over, it feels to me like it is far from that. I think Saturday will determine the series. How do you see Game 3, Big Perk, as far as the significance of it, bigger for the Knicks or for the Celtics?
Well, look, Shaq is not wrong. Here's the thing, right? We hear this term that says stay even keel, right? Never get too low, never get too high. And right now, it's easy for the Knicks to get high, right? You come back, you go on the road, you get 2 wins, down 20 against the defending champs. You're going back to New York. The city is fired up. It's going to be star-studded. The celebrity's going to be there. My boy Tracy Morgan, you know he going to be in the front row. Everything is in your favor, right? And you want to embrace it all. But the job is not done. So it was a great message by Karl Anthony Towns in that locker room last night after the game, because he's been in this moment before against the defending champs in the Denver Nuggets last year when he was up 0-2 and all of a sudden they laid the egg in Game 3. You want to keep that same even keel mindset and say, hey, we still got to go win between the lines. They are the defending champs. They're going to come out swinging, but we got to be able and be ready to throw some uppercuts and some overhand rights as well. I still believe this series is over. I think I know the Knicks are going to win this series. The Celtics definitely blew it, losing these first 2 at home.
I think it's important that you note that number at the bottom of the screen a moment ago. The Celtics are favored. They're a 5.5-point favorite in Game 3. And here's what I will say. I feel as though, and there is that number back there again, Cindy, great job. I feel, Alan, as though Game 3 will determine the series. If the Celtics win Game 3, I think they completely shift everything. I think all the pressure in the world then goes on the Knicks to defend home court in Game 4. My feeling, I make no secret of who I'm rooting for. I'm born and raised in this city. But I feel like Game 3, it will determine the series.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, first of all, you get a split, you're up 3-1, right? Really, the pressure is all on Boston. And, I understand what Shaq's saying. I don't understand this notion of, don't get comfortable. Who the hell's comfortable in this series?
Yeah, that's
Are you
fair.
kidding me?
Both
There's
games.
no comfort at all in this series.
Yeah.
So there's no I can't imagine the Knicks are going to walk into the Garden on Saturday afternoon thinking like, oh, we got this. No, they have no history to have that kind of emotion. But what you're saying, I understand, is if the Knicks win Game 3, then they can really feel like we got this. If you lose it, it opens the door for the comeback that we saw Denver do last year to make that thing a longer series. But I still feel like 99% of the pressure is on Boston. They know it, they're going to feel it, and they're going to hear it in that building.
Yeah, I think the comfortable part of it just comes from like desperation is the one most, it's something you can't replicate.
But think about
the
what
Celtics
the
are
Knicks
desperate.
want this so bad now because they can feel it and taste it. You start the series, right, Monica? Nobody's giving you a chance, and you're wondering if you have one. Now you're like, oh no, we can get this. The door's open. We're taking this.
The one thing I will say, Greeny, to push back on your Game 3 scenario is the Knicks have done something that has never been done in terms of winning 5 road games, right? They've led for a total of 12 minutes out of the 101 minutes played. Even if, let's just say things hold, even if they were to give up 2 at the Garden, if they continue to win on the road, advantage Knicks.
I get it. I don't know. There's just something in this. Just the way I'm looking at it.
I know what you're doing.
Lord knows I'm almost always wrong.
I do get it. You're coping a little bit.
I keep my expectations in a reasonable place. Win-man, the mentality of both teams going back to New York.
I think what Shaq is doing there is a little bit of conventional thinking, and I don't think this series is conventional. I think if the Celtics have a good three-point shooting game, the Knicks cannot beat them. I think if they have an average three-point shooting game, they're going to beat them most of the time. What the Knicks have to do is win every game when the Celtics have a bad shooting game. That may happen in Game 3. That may happen in Game 7. So far, when the Celtics had a bad shooting game, the Knicks took them. If the Celtics are hot in Game 3, you can't worry about it. You can't let it shift your confidence. You have to wait for those opportunities. Full power, the Celtics are winning. They haven't been full power.
Final results of the poll on Twitter.
I'm beginning to question the full power.
Let's see. All right, so they pulled away. The Knicks pulled away and got a lot of votes at the end. This thing was dead even through most of the voting. And we've closed the poll now at ESPN Greeny on Twitter X. 57% believe the Knicks are going to win. And an interesting quirk on ESPN Bet right now, the Knicks are favored to win this series. The Celtics remain the favorite to win the East. All right, I'm sure Stephen A. will be very measured in his...
Knicks Nation, I want you to stop what you're doing for just a minute and really think about this. We are up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. Yeah, you heard that right. 2 massive comebacks. 2 straight heartbreaks handed to the team that finished, with the best record in the NBA. And now, the series shifts to our house, Madison Square Garden, with all the momentum wearing orange and blue. Now, everybody's talking about Jalen Brunson. And hey, he's earned it. The man is a walking bucket. He's clutch. He's calm. He's the pulse of this team. People are giving flowers to Mikal Bridges, too. 2 games, 2 game-saving defensive plays. You should be talking about that. But today, we're talking about Mitchell Robinson. Because if you're not talking about Mitch right now, then you're missing the full picture. And trust me, the box score alone will not tell you what this man has done for us. Let's go back to Game 2. Kristaps Porzingis hits a 3. The Celtics go up 20 points with just over 3 minutes left in the third quarter. The Garden was quiet. The vibe was off. Fans watching at home, pacing, nervous. Announcers ready to crown Boston. And then Peyton Pritchard drops a 3 of his own early in the fourth. Lead stretches to 16. And at that point, most teams would fold. Not this team, not this city, not this man. Mitchell Robinson, who had been in and out of the game all night, gets the ball near the rim, spins, draws contact, and finishes the play. Missed the free throw. Yeah, we all saw it, not even close. But you know what that bucket did? It started a 21-2 run. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. Mitchell Robinson's bucket sparked a 21-2 run that turned the entire game around. That one basket lit a fire under this team and under this building. And what did Mitch do after that? He played 9.5 minutes in the fourth quarter. In the game where comebacks were made, where heart beat out hype, Mitchell Robinson had the highest plus-minus on the entire team. Plus 19. You want more? He snagged 8 rebounds, added 3 steals. He boxed out, contested shots, and most importantly, he was everywhere Boston didn't want him to be. And when it mattered most, when Jason Tatum had the ball in his hands with a chance to win it, it was Mitch standing between him and victory. Did Tatum get by him once for a dunk? Sure, but the very next play, Mitch forces him into help. Bridges reads it perfectly, jumps the passing lane, game over. You don't see that on a stat sheet, but you feel it when you watch this team fight for every inch. Now let's talk about Game 1. Boston pulled out the Hacker Mitch strategy early, and it worked. 3 of 10 from the free throw line. Thibodeau pulled him in the second quarter. Precious Achiuwa, who hadn't seen the court all playoffs, got a look. But when Cat picked up his 4th foul, Thibs didn't hesitate. He turned back to Mitch. At that moment, the Knicks were down 20, trailing 72-52. Robinson comes in, and what happens? Momentum shifts. Again, Mitch stays in the game for nearly the entire third quarter stretch, and by the time he checks out early in the fourth, the lead is down to 4. Final box score, modest. 3 points, 7 rebounds. No highlights on SportsCenter, but the Knicks were plus 113 with him on the floor. And when the game was on the line, when the pressure was real, who did Thibodeau trust to be on? The court guarding Jason Tatum in the final seconds of regulation, Mitchell Robinson. And what happened? Tatum pulled up for 3. Brick. Knicks go to overtime. Knicks win. Let's make something crystal clear. Mitchell Robinson is not a perfect player. He's a liability at the line. That's a fact. You close your eyes every time he steps up to shoot, and opposing coaches know it. It's a weakness, but guess what? He knows it too. And he's still outworking everyone else. He doesn't complain. He doesn't demand touches. He plays defense, fights on the glass, protects the rim, and gives this team a physical presence that you can't replicate. This is his 7th year with the Knicks. He's the longest tenured player on this roster. He's seen the worst of this franchise and stuck through it. And now he's in the middle of the biggest playoff push we've had in decades and playing his role to perfection. There's a reason Thibs keeps going back to him in crunch time. There's a reason the team rallies around him after big stops. And there's a reason opposing teams are still trying to scheme around him, because they know how much he means, even when he's not filling the stat sheet. So Knicks fans, here's the question. When are we going to stop talking about what Mitchell Robinson isn't and start appreciating what he is? He's not going to hit threes. He's not going to carry the offense, but this man is giving you elite defense, second chance points, physicality, and heart. And if we're being real, that's exactly what wins in the playoffs. So now the series heads to Madison Square Garden. And the Celtics, they're coming into our house down 0-2. And you better believe Mitchell Robinson is going to be waiting for them at the rim. Now it's your turn, Knicks Nation. What do you think about Mitchell Robinson's performance so far? Is he our X factor in this series? Do you trust him to close out games late, even with the free throw struggles? Is this the best version of Mitch we've ever seen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, while you're here, smash that like button, subscribe to New York Knicks Report, and turn on notifications. We're breaking down every storyline, every play, every player that's keeping the dream alive in New York. This is the time. This is the team. And Mitchell Robinson, he's part of the reason we're still standing. Let's go, Knicks.